Good day, everyone. How are you? I'm Addison Pollock. I'm the Director of Community Engagement with AARP Indiana. I'm very glad to be here with two of my colleagues and a special guest. Amber Marr is our Legislative Director who talks about legislative things. How are you, Amber?
Hey, Addison, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm really glad that you're here to talk a little bit about housing today, which is a really important topic. Madla, how are you, sir?
I'm really good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to obviously the conversation around housing. So excited to be here today. Thanks.
Absolutely. And we are joined by a very special guest, and I believe maybe our first guest on the show. It's debatable. We may have had another in the past, but Jake Sipe with the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And Jake has been gracious enough to join us today to discuss the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And this is part of the American Rescue Plan that was passed in March 2021. And the Emergency Rental Assistance Program is part of the program that's filtering down to states. Indiana received nearly $450 million for emergency rental assistance to make renters and landlords whole. So today we're going to talk about that program. And we couldn't think of anyone better than the executive director of IHCDA to be with us. And we're just grateful for his partnership and that whole group over there at the state. So I'm going to kick it over to Amber to dive into our questions and just get us going.
Excellent. Thanks, Addison. And Jake, it's so great to have you. As Addison mentioned, we have really meant to have other guests just besides AARP Indiana employees on the show. And so to have you here today is very exciting, and especially to talk about a topic that is so near and dear to some of the work that we do throughout the state. So I guess if it's okay, we're just going to jump right in. And I think we're going to kick it off with the first question, which is, basically, what is the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program, if you don't mind going into it just a little bit?
Sure. Let me just share a little bit of information with you about the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program. You mentioned these are federal funds that have come to the state and to actually a few of our local municipalities as well. These funds are currently available to renter households who have been adversely impacted by the pandemic to provide rental assistance and also utility assistance. So I think that's really important here to remember that we're providing assistance for both or for one or the other for those that are qualified. I mentioned that there is local programs that are also being administered with these dollars as well, and we're covering the balance of the state, how I like to say it, in those communities that are not providing the program. There are 5 counties that have their own emergency rental assistance program. That's Elkhart County, Hamilton County, Marion County, Lake County, and St. Joseph County. And then we have one city, the city of Fort Wayne, is also administering their own program. So if you live in one of those 6 areas, you would apply for the emergency rental assistance program at the local level. If you're outside of one of those 6 areas, then you would apply to IHCDA, Indiana's emergency rental assistance program for rental assistance and or utility assistance. So I also want to mention one thing, because also oftentimes I hear this question. You know, I received assistance last summer. As you know, last summer, Governor Holcomb announced we actually ended up providing over $50 million of emergency rental assistance with another program before these dollars came out. This is a completely separate program. They are not tied together. The program rules and the policy, they're all different. So a lot of folks get them confused. That program that we launched last year has been wound down. It's no longer available. And so we transitioned to this new program, which we're calling the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program. I know that there's been a little bit of confusion early on about those 2 programs, but these are completely separate and different programs. And the big difference here between the 2 programs is the opportunity to provide utility assistance. And I can get into some of that, what that means here in just a minute.
Thank you. That was excellent. And I think some of the main points that you made is just making sure that people understand that there are some local or county-wide programs that they will have to apply for directly through those links. But for everyone else outside of those locations, they can apply directly through IHCDA, which is amazing. And also the point that you made, which was, the program last year, which was just for rental assistance. This particular program encompasses utility assistance as well. And I really appreciate you mentioning that, because I think that is very important for people to understand. And also, just to reiterate your point, that if individuals applied and received assistance through the program last year, that does not mean that they cannot apply or ask for assistance through this program this year, which is because they are two totally separate programs. The program last year is ended and has closed, and this is the program that has, I don't even want to say take its place, because it is a totally different program. So I think that that's important for people to remember, is that if you received assistance last year, that does not mean you cannot apply and receive assistance under this particular program that has been launched this year. So perfect. I am going to toss it to Mandala to ask our next question.
Thanks, Amber. Thanks so much again. Just reiterating to the same thing, just thanks for joining us. I think some of this you've already sort of talked about, but I think maybe delving a little bit deeper into sort of who's eligible, and then talking more about sort of the expenses that folks can sort of use to, or can apply for through this program. So that would be helpful as well. Thanks.
Yeah, so who is eligible? If you're a renter household, and there is some criteria that you have to meet, so there is that. And let me touch on a few of those real quick. You have to demonstrate you've been negatively financially impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's one criteria. You have the risk of housing instability. That means that you're either behind on your utilities or your rent. Maybe you're facing eviction. You've received a notice potentially, or you've received a disconnect notice from your utility provider. And also if you're being housing cost burden. And we allow a lot of flexibility in that and how you demonstrate your cost burden as it relates to housing. So there's that. The other piece too is there is an income limit at 80% of the area median income, and so there isn't the income limits. So what type of assistance? I mentioned utilities, and that's a pretty broad term. I think most folks understand rent. We do provide the rental assistance, and that can be for if you're behind, we can provide your behind payments on your rent, and then we can also do some monthly payments moving forward. So, and it can be a combination of both. We can look back and help bring you current, or we can move forward. On the utility side, we provide assistance on your past due utilities, and on the utilities, it's considered to be your electric, your gas, your water, your sewer, your trash, and even your internet. Again, those are your electric, gas, water, sewer, trash, and internet are the utilities that we can help if you're past due. And past due is at the time you submit your application at indianahousingnow.org. If those are past due, we can bring them current for you if you qualify. So.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, thank you.
Getting myself off mute there. Thanks for that. And I think, well, could I just follow up on something there? Can you talk a little bit more about the sort of being getting caught up piece and how that works? How do I guess, navigate that with my landlord? Is there something that I need to give them, or how do I explain that or talk through that with folks?
Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, one of the things that through the whole pandemic, renters and landlords have to work together. It's a partnership. It is, and it's one in which has to be good communication. One of the things, the application process is, the renter does basically start the application. But we do have a lot of landlords who are helping their renters with submitting the application. They provide assistance. They'll either provide a computer or a laptop to submit, go to indianahousingnow.org and to help them with submitting that application. Once that application comes in, we also have to get certain documentation from the landlord. For example, we need the lease, so we can make sure that we do have a legal lease in place. And we need to verify the amounts as well with the landlord, so we know exactly what is the monthly amount that the rent is, and then if there is any past due, what is that amount? And so we need to verify that information.
All right, thank you so much. Addison, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Madla. Jake, I know you mentioned a little bit before about every Hoosier community is participating in this program one way or the other, whether it's through the state or through that several list of communities that you had discussed. Can you just reiterate which communities are not participating in the state program and where folks might be able to go for assistance with those localities, but also through the state?
Sure. The best way to find the information is really to go to indianahousingnow.org. That is IHCDA's website that we've created that provides a lot of other resources. It also allows you to, as a renter, to look for available units in the community of your choice. So there's a lot more features there. But indianahousingnow.org is really the landing page for IHCDA's program, but we also have direct links to the other programs that are around the state. As I mentioned, Elkhart County has a program, and you can go to elkhartcounty.com, rental assistance. Hamilton County has a program, the exact same program, and it's hctaindiana.com. Lake County has a website set up, lakecountyin.care. Marion County has their program at indyrent.org, and Fort Wayne has fwcares.org. St. Joseph County is sjcindiana.com. And so those are their websites that they've created. Make it easy for everybody. Just go to indianahousingnow.org, and then we have a direct link that will send you to those communities or those counties or your city of Fort Wayne, so you can apply for their program. But indianahousingnow.org is probably the best resource and easiest one to remember. There's also an eviction foreclosure prevention guide that we've created in partnership with multiple different associations to help renters navigate understanding when they get behind and how to work with the landlord and what other resources might be out there. So I'll just hit on that, indianahousingnow.org, and that's where you can go to get a lot of information related to the emergency rental assistance programs, not only at IHCDA, but around the state.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks. And we did draft a blog about the program as well. So we link to indianahousingnow.org on that blog. So if you're just curious about the program or want to share the information with people in your networks, you can go to our blog and read about that more there. But if you are looking for direct assistance, indianahousingnow.org. Thank you for that, Jake. And Amber, I know you have a question that you would like to ask.
Yes. So I was just hoping that you could maybe just expand upon some of the information as far as how many months this assistance is available to Hoosiers, and if there is a deadline for Hoosiers to be able to access this assistance. If you could just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. On the rental assistance side, we can provide up to 12 months, and that 12 months does include past due rent or forward-facing rent. We do 3 months of forward-facing rent before we have to recertify, but the maximum amount of months that we can provide is 12 months. And again, that can either be back payment of rent or forward-facing payment of rent, or a combination of both. There is a maximum amount of monthly assistance that we can provide. And so for an example, on a 1-bedroom unit, the maximum we can apply monthly is $781. Now, if you take that out 12 months, that's just over $9,300 is the maximum we could provide in rental assistance. For a 2-bedroom, that's $946 a month. For a 3-bedroom, it's $1,248 a month in rental assistance. So there is a cap on the amount that we can provide monthly, and then obviously that equates to a cap for 12 months. On the utility assistance, we can provide, as I mentioned, bring you current. So whatever your past due amount is at the time you submit your application, that's what we can provide for you in the utility assistance. We don't really have a cap on that other than the fact of we need to verify those amounts with your utility vendor, whoever is providing that service to you. On the deadlines, actually the program is broken up into two programs. It's a little complicated, but in general, really the program for the emergency rental assistance program will go through currently right now, the way that the legislation is written on the policy side is September 30th, 2025. So it does go out quite a ways beyond just this year. Now, for a lot of folks though, we do know that the eviction moratorium is coming to an end at the end of this month. And so that's probably your bigger deadline for some folks that are currently past due. So that's the date that I would focus on for some renters who may be past due right now. I would say right now is the time you need to apply for your emergency rental assistance. However, the program itself is going to go out for a few years.
Fantastic. And just to ask one more quick question around that, you did mention that for the rental assistance program, the assistance can be up to 12 months, whether that's back pay or forward facing. As far as the utility piece, are there only so many months that you can go back to pay that back pay for Hoosiers, or is that just sort of whatever they're in arrear right now, that is something that you would be able to cover?
Yeah, it does go back to April 2020. So when the pandemic happened, again, this is tied to the pandemic. So we go back to April of 2020 as the maximum of look back for utilities and rent.
Thank you for that clarification. That was perfect. And then I am going to kick it to Mandela because I think he has another question as well.
Thanks, Amber. I think as you mentioned, folks are also getting other resources as well from other places. Does that impact eligibility at all if I'm getting some other state resources or federal resources like SNAP or any other benefit like that? Would that impact my eligibility at all?
No, it wouldn't. There's always a little caveat to that. But if someone is receiving rental assistance, and there has been some confusion about this, and I've heard about it from some folks, if someone is currently receiving rental assistance, we still can provide rental assistance to that household for their portion that is due. So let's say, for example, someone is receiving housing choice vouchers, and their monthly rent is $800. And their voucher is covering $600 of their $800. Well, the rental assistance could provide the gap, the $200 of assistance. So I know that there's some confusion around that, and that's our policy here at ICDA is that we will provide assistance to a renter household for the residence portion that is due if they're receiving other types of assistance. So we can't duplicate the amount that someone is receiving, but if we can provide some assistance for folks for their portion that is due. So yeah, a little bit of confusion around that. I've noticed that as well. But no, that does not. And same way with LIHEAP. If LIHEAP is the Low Income Housing Energy Assistance Program, so there are households who during the winter months are receiving a benefit on their utility bill for their gas and electric heating bills. If you receive LIHEAP funds, you still can receive utility assistance under the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. We are not duplicating. That is not considered duplication of benefit. So if you did receive LIHEAP funds, a benefit over the winter of 2020, 2021, you still could be eligible to receive utility assistance as well.
All right. Thanks for that. Thanks for clarifying that. And I think that's something that I think that's part of why we asked the question as well, is we just want to make sure we put that out there and put the clarity in terms of how folks are eligible to how they can use the assistance that they're receiving currently. Addison, I think you have our next question.
Yeah, thanks, Madla. So Jake, you've done a really good job of hitting those important points on how much rental assistance and utility assistance is available. But can you get into can someone receive both rental and utility assistance as part of this program?
Yeah, if a household does qualify, as I mentioned, those basically those four criteria, they can receive both rental assistance and utility assistance, or they can choose and receive assistance for one or the other. So you don't have to receive rental assistance to receive the utility assistance, and vice versa. You don't have to receive rental assistance and also receive utility. You as a renter have the opportunity to pick and choose if you want to do rent and utility, or if you want to do both. If you're behind on your water bill, but you're current on your electric bill, then you can apply for the water assistance. So you really do. It's a menu. I like to think of it as really a menu of items there that you may be eligible to receive assistance on if you qualify and meet those criteria.
Wonderful. All right, great. Amber, I think you have a question about folks who might not have access to a computer.
Absolutely. And by the way, I was really happy to hear that part of the utility assistance does include internet. That is really exciting. I think that, especially since we've learned through the pandemic that internet is not always something that we just want anymore. It is a necessity. So thanks for talking about that. And that sort of leads into what we wanted to talk about as far as how people can, if they need help applying for this assistance. And I know you've mentioned the website multiple times, but is there a phone number that individuals can dial if they don't have access to the internet or are unable to get to a computer?
Yeah, we have a great partnership with Indiana 211, and they're actually doing a lot more than you might think. I know a lot of folks think they call Indiana 211 and it's going to just refer them to another entity. That's not the case here. They're doing a lot more than that. All the folks that are receiving calls on the emergency rental assistance at 211 are trained staff members. And why is that important? Because they can help you with not only getting to indianahousingnow.org traditionally as a referral, but if you don't have access to the internet, our partnership with Indiana 211 is they will assist in completing the application for you if you don't have a computer or if you don't have access to the internet. So their staff is trained to help you with applying for the funds for the rental assistance. So that's just a great partnership that we have. So if you're feeling like I'm not comfortable using the internet, I'm not comfortable using a computer, I don't have one, I'm having issues, Indiana 211, they'll fill out the application and complete the application for you and get it started. Now, if you do have a customer service question or something like that, we do have operators that are available. It's 317-800-6000, so 317-800-6000. And many times, though, you need to leave a message for that. And then we have been returning your phone calls within many cases that same day. We get a report at the end of the day knowing how many voice messages are still there that we haven't responded. But what I'm seeing is we're responding in that same day and we're not leaving those messages unreturned. So that's another option there as well. So yeah, we don't accept paper applications. We're not accepting applications through the mail. So if you have challenges or just don't feel comfortable with an online application, feel free, please call 211 for assistance in completing the application online.
That was excellent. And I think that I see Mandela getting ready to say about the question that we had next. But before we move to his comment on that, I did just want to say that 211 has been so helpful, not just around these items, but also hearing that they would help someone fill out the application, but around other items that have come up during the pandemic and beyond. And so we are very grateful that people are answering those calls and helping individuals all the way to the point of even assisting them with filling out the application and then submitting it. So thank you for talking about that, and also for the work that your administration is doing to answer all of these calls if they have customer service questions, because I know it can be difficult to keep up on voicemails. So we appreciate all the work that's being done around this. And Mandala, I'm going to let you take it away.
Yeah, well, I thought you was going to go ahead and transition to that, but Jake, you did answer my last question. My question was, do folks have the ability to hand in paper applications or by mail? But you took care of that, so thanks for that. But you can share one more time, just to let people know that they cannot submit a paper or mail application.
Right. Yeah. Everything is through online. Indiana 211 can help folks who don't have access to a computer or internet to fill out that application. Or, like I've mentioned too, talk to your landlord. Landlords are helping their renters, assisting them with filling out that application. It's also good for the landlord to know that you've applied. They want to know that information, and so engaging them, asking your landlord for assistance, whether it's in the community room or if they have access. If you don't have a computer, ask your landlord, your property manager, hey, can I come in and would you help me with making sure I fill out the application correctly? So it's a team effort. Landlords and renters got to work together on this. We need both on this one. So yeah, please work together. Landlords, work with your renters who that are past due. Make them aware of this program and offer up the technology that they need to apply. We're hearing so many great stories from landlords on the work that they're doing in the outreach to their renters. And so we really do need our landlords to help us with this so that we can get them paid. And so, yeah, that's the best advice I can give renters and landlords. Work together on this, help each other out. It's a team effort.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jake. You've been very generous with your time this morning, and we just want you to, if you don't mind, plugging the website one more time where people can go to apply or seek more information. And if there's any parting words you'd like to leave with us, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, the website again is indianahousingnow.org. It's at the top of the screen. You can go there. The other thing that we have there for renters and landlords, we have one-pagers just targeting renters to give you just that basic information that you need to get started. Landlords, we've heard a lot of questions. We try to answer a lot of the information that you need to know when you have renters that are applying. So what does the program look like? We also have a one-pager for our utility companies and our vendors so that they have that information. So you see a lot of resources there. We also have a frequently asked questions page that we've created. So to ask, we received a lot of questions. We've tried to answer those most common questions that we received. And we've also created a document that gives examples of how the assistance works. And I know some folks are confused about, do I get utility assistance? Can I apply for utility assistance if I apply for renter assistance, and vice versa? Yeah, so we do have specific examples up on the website that shares that information with you. If you are receiving assistance, how does that work? How much am I eligible for? So those examples have been really helpful for renters and landlords and for utility companies to understand how the program actually works and how that funding flows. I guess the last thing I'll say, we do have some additional programs that are coming down the pike. So I hope that I've done a good job here today explaining what's going on with the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and that you invite me back. And I'd love to have the opportunity to talk about the Housing Assistance Fund that's being developed right now that will provide assistance to homeowners. We're in the middle of that right now, working with the U.S. Department of Treasury on developing a program for very similar to the rental assistance, where we would provide mortgage assistance, but also we might be able to provide some assistance on utilities as well. And then in the fall, we're working closely with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to not only launch the Low-Income Housing Energy Assistance Program, which I mentioned earlier, LIHEAP. There is a water assistance program that's also coming that will align with LIHEAP called the Low-Income Housing Water Assistance Program. for folks who need some benefit and need some assistance on their water bill. So we're working with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services as well. That program will be launched probably later this summer, early fall, in line with LIHEAP. So that program is also under development right now. So hopefully I get to come back and share a little bit more information about those programs when they become available.
Yes, yeah, please. We would really, really value that. That would be great. You have been such a terrific guest, and just you've provided such a thorough overview of this program. We do really appreciate it. Amber, you're the legislative director who talks about legislative things. Do you have any parting words for our guests today?
Thanks, Addison. I just wanted to echo what you said. This has been just a wonderful conversation. And of course, we will have you back because, as you heard me say, we would love to continue to not only have people on this show that are outside just my colleagues and myself, but also individuals that have so much in their portfolio that we could only talk about one program today. And there's so much more to discuss. So we would love to have you back so that everyone can hear about, what IHCDA just has, and it's not just this program. So thank you again. This was, we're just really grateful that you took time out of your day to help explain this. And I think that's just what I wanted to say. So Addison, I'll send it back to you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks, Amber. Thank you, Jake, again. And thank you, Madla, for being here today, and producer Dan behind the scenes. We appreciate you. So this is just one of AARP's many efforts in being a wise friend to Hoosiers in across the state. We want to make sure that you have the information that you need to make sure that you're covering your housing costs, utility costs, broadband costs, all of those expenses. So if there's any way that you can help out, share this video, make sure you get the word out. That's what we're trying to do here. So we would really appreciate the support. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.